Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes continued on Beirut's southern suburbs overnight. Smoke could be seen billowing above the area. The Israeli army had earlier urged residents of two neighborhoods in those southern suburbs to evacuate their homes. Let's get the latest on the situation in Lebanon with our reporter, Catherine Norris Trent now. Catherine, what's the situation on the ground, on the latest on the fighting where you are?
Good morning, Karis. There were at least 8 strikes reported overnight, carried out by the Israeli armed forces on the southern suburbs of Beirut there behind me. And you can probably see there's a thick layer of white smoke covering parts of the city this morning, and I can smell the fires that have been burning. And that direction, that is coming from the south of Beirut there. Huge explosions were reported overnight. We saw again in those southern suburbs, Hezbollah strongholds, big plumes of smoke rising into the air. The Israeli army, as it does shortly beforehand, put out an evacuation warning saying they were going to strike 3 buildings there in Dahia, those Hezbollah strongholds, and then clearly have carried that out. And it seems the fires have continued burning this morning. Also, we've been hearing about Hezbollah's activities on Saturday, according to their press releases, because they put out a lot of communiques as well. They said they fired rockets and drones across the border at Israeli military bases. And they also put out their own evacuation warnings to more than 20 Israeli villages in the north of Israel, locations, in a way imitating the evacuation orders that the Israeli army's Arabic spokesman has become very well known here in Lebanon for putting out. They were kind of using some of the same language, so calling on civilians to get out of the way because the army was nearby. There have also been airstrikes carried out by Israeli warplanes in the south of the country. That's a very, very active front still at the moment, and in the Bekaa Valley in the east as well. So the situation here remains extremely, explosive and ongoing. Every day we've been seeing these hostilities, and for the past week at least we've been waking up to the aftermath of bombings in southern Beirut.
And what have you been hearing in terms of reactions to Israel's strikes in Iran on Saturday?
Hezbollah has reacted. They did that rather late on Saturday, of course, condemning Israel's strikes on Iran. Hezbollah linked to Iran, financed by Iran. The Israelis called it an Iranian proxy. So no surprise there, they condemned it. But they also say that America takes full blame for those airstrikes, and they called it a dangerous regional escalation. Also, the Lebanese government, the foreign ministry, put out a statement calling it an escalation, a violation of Iran's sovereign territory, and calling on the United Nations Security Council to step up and do more to prevent any further actions. And also, they said to try and convince Israel to stop its military activities in the south. In terms of people I've been speaking to here in Beirut, well, a lot of them, we of course weren't surprised because there was a lot of build-up to these strikes. They were widely expected. Some people relieved perhaps that they weren't as large a scale as they could have been. Others bracing for what would come next. This country, as I've been saying, has been embroiled in a very active war with strikes across different areas of the country. Huge numbers of displaced people are flooding into other towns and villages from their homes in very dangerous areas. And so people are really bracing about what could come next. Could there be a possible response? Will the strikes carry on? How will this affect their country? And they're worried as this war drags on that it could get more and more serious for them.
All right, Catherine Norris Trent, thank you very much for your reporting.